Psalms and Psalm 124. Shall we read the whole Psalm alternatively, please? Or maybe we can read only few verses are there. We can read all the verses together. Come, let us read, please, together 124. If it had not been the Lord who was on our side, now may Israel say, if it had not been the Lord who was on our side, when men rose up against us, then they had swallowed up quick when their wrath was kindled against us. Then the waters had overwhelmed us, the stream had gone over our soul. Verse 5. Come, let us read. Then the proud waters had gone over our soul. Blessed be the Lord who hath not given us a prey to their teeth. Our soul is escaped as a bird out of the snare of the fowlers. The snare is broken, and we are escaped. Our help is in the name of the Lord who made heaven and earth. May the loving Lord bless these 8 verses of this psalm. It is a song or even psalm of David. As we know that there are at least 4 psalms among the songs of degrees that David had written. They are 122, 124, and we see also 131, 133. Rest of the Psalms we do not know. Probably they might have been written by David, or it may be continuation. But then definitely these are the experiences of David. And without experience, David did not write any of the Psalms, right? We all know very well. So whenever that the psalm is ascribed or it is under the name of David, then we can very sure that he might have gone through a lot of experiences before writing this psalm. ఇలాగన మరి దావీదు ఈ యొక్క యాత్ర కీర్తనలో 4 యాత్ర కీర్తనలు వ్రాసినట్లుగా మనం చూడవచ్చు. 122, 124, 131, 133. चारोट भजन यो यात्रा को भजन दाऊद लेकर था लिखनु भयो. साम 122, 124 और त्यसपछि 131 और 133. Now we see that in this psalm again the psalmist is talking about how the Lord had made him to come out, delivered him, or how the Lord had helped him to come out of at least 4-fold challenges or difficulties. Maybe these 4-fold challenges are similar to what all the children of God, they go through. David had gone through all of them. Therefore, as we see in 124, the emotions are changing. And if we see in 120, the people, as they were traveling, they were in distress because they are away from the house of God. And also as they are traveling, they are also in dangers, and therefore they are seeking the help from the Lord, safety from the Lord. Now afterwards, 120 to 123 we have meditated. They have come to Jerusalem, and now they have close fellowship with the Lord. When you are very close to the Lord, then you remember what the Lord had done in our lives. That means recollecting the past, how the Lord had helped them. Now again we see in 124 is a collection or recollection of how the Lord had helped them. సో మన యొక్క యాత్ర జీవితంలో కూడా కొన్ని పర్యాయాలు మనం ఈ విధంగా దేవుని వెంబడిస్తూ మన యొక్క విశ్వాస జీవితంలో పైకి వెళ్తున్న సందర్భంలో అనేక పర్యాయాలు మనం గతాన్ని తలపోసుకుంటూ ఏ విధంగా దేవుడు మనకి సహాయపడ్డాడో వాటిని తలపోసుకుంటాం అన్నది మనం తరచుగా చేస్తూనే ఉంటాం. దానివల్ల ఎంత దేవుడు విశ్వాస్యత చూపించాడో దానికి తగ్గట్టుగా మనము ఎంతగా ఆయన పైన ఆధారపడి ఉండగలమో మనం అర్థం చేసుకోవచ్చు. हमें चाहिए जब यो हाम्रो पुरानो कुराहरूलाई कसरी प्रभुले गर्दा आफ्नो विश्वास्यताको कारणले गर्दा हामीलाई बचाउनुभयो। जब हामी यो कुरालाई सम्झना गर्छौँ, हामी एकदमै प्रभुमाथि भरोसा राख्ने, फेरि प्रभुको कहाँ आएर सहायता माग्ने, हामी धन्यवाद चढाउने, यस्तो प्रकारको कुरा चाहिँ हामी गर्न सक्छौँ। नाउ एज वी एन्टर इन्टु दिस psalm, we see that the psalmist is telling, if it had not been the Lord who was on our side. So the Lord was on the side of David. All the time, that is what he had experienced. దేవుడు నా పక్షంగా ఉండకపోయి ఉంటే, यदि प्रभु मेरो पक्षमा भएको छैन, यस्तो प्रकारको होता, यो चाहिँ यस्तो प्रकारको थियो, एकदमै खतरामा दाउदले गर्दा, यो विश्वासीले गर्दा हुन्छ भनेकन पनि हामी बुझ्न सक्छौँ। ट्वाइस इट इज मेन्सन, नाउ मे इजरायल से, if it had not been the Lord who was on our side. So that is the actually experience of the even men of God, David, and all the people of Israel also, because even psalmist David also asking all the people of Israel to join him కదా. ఇస్రాయల్ అందరూ కూడా ఇప్పుడు ఇస్రాయేలు ఇలాగున చెప్పునుగాక అని చెప్తూ, మరి ఒకవేళ దేవుడు మా పక్షముగా ఉండకపోయి ఉంటే ఏ విధంగా ఉండేదో దాన్ని తలపోసుకున్నట్లుగా మనం చూస్తున్నాం। दुईपल्ट एक चाहिँ डोर्याउनु भयो भनेकन हामी एक र दुई पदहरूमा यो चाहिँ हामी हेर्न पाउँछौँ। सो देयरफोर द एक्सपिरियन्स अफ आवर all of us, every child of God, is that the Lord is on our side. If the Lord was not there on our side, many things had happened to us. Now, that is one thing that we can quickly remember, and those who are on the Lord's side, God also will be on their side. That is the summary of the entire Old Testament we see. Whenever people of Israel were trusting the Lord was on their behalf. पुरानो नियममा चाहिँ पुरा नियममा यस्तो प्रकारको कुरा हामी हेर्छौँ, तर एकदमै सारा इतिहासले गर्दा प्रभु चाहिँ आफ्नो लोगहरूको पक्षमा थियो भनिकन हामी बुझ्न सक्छौँ। Now, that's why even Romans chapter 8, Apostle Paul says the same thing, that when the Lord is on our side, who can be against us? Very familiar portion. Kindly come and let us read together, please. Verse 31, Romans 8:31. రోమి 8వ అధ్యాయం, రోమిలకు రాసిన పత్రిక 8:31, రోమి 8 अध्यायको 31 पदलाई सबैजना मिलेर आउनुहोस् हामी पढ्नेछौँ। What shall we say then to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us? Even great men of God also, actually they have quoted this again and again. For example, Joshua and Caleb, when people were very much afraid of the giants that were those who were in promised land, and they have encouraged them, don't be scared of them. You should not be afraid of the enemy, but because the Lord is on our side. So whether it is in the Old Testament or in the New Testament, we see that God is for us, on our behalf. Maybe we can read quickly. Numbers chapter 14 verse 9. Let us recollect what had happened on that day when all the people, the entire congregation, was so terrified about the people, those who are living in the promised land. When the 10 spies brought the evil report, at the time what had happened, let us see, and how they were trying to encourage the people in this manner. Verse 9, shall we read all together? गन्तीको किताब 14 अध्यायको 9 पदलाई सबैजना मिलेर हामी पढ्नेछौँ। Only rebel not ye against the Lord, neither fear ye the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Their defense is departed from them, and the Lord is with us. Fear them not. So this is actually again and again we see in the entire Old Testament that God is on our behalf. Even Elisha said the same thing to Gehazi, his servant also. So whatever it may be, our continual experience is the Lord is on our behalf, on our side. As actually the people of Israel have experienced, we can also experience. And because of that, even fourfold problems that can, come before us, but they cannot, overpower, or they cannot have victory over us. The first situation can be seen from verses maybe 2 and 3 and 2 and 3. Shall we read verses 2 and 3? Let us read together. If it not had been the Lord who was on our side when men rose up against us. Shall we read 3 also? Then they had swallowed us up quick when their wrath was kindled against us. Then they had swallowed us up quick when their wrath was kindled against us. So when we read 2 and 3, we come across the first thing is the people or the enemy. And it was true in the Old Testament that the people of God had enemies, those who are all around them. But then for us, they may not be human beings, but even Satan himself will be against us. So the first kind of thing is situations or any other thing bringing against us is called, this kind of, enemy who is trying to swallow us up, and that too very quickly. And such kind of situations, the Lord had protected the people of God. 2-3 వచనాలు ఎవరైనా తెలుగులో చదువుతారా? వారు మనల్ని ప్రాణముతోనే మృంగివేసి ఉందురు. Some situations, they come so sudden, it is, unexpected, and as if, they are going to swallow us up, and we do not have anything, even time also, to escape. And that kind of situation was there for the people of God in the Old Testament. We are not any exception. That means we also are constantly facing one or other difficulties in this world because we are following the Lord as believers, as children of God. దేవుని ప్రజలంగా మరి ఆ దినాల్లో మరి ఇశ్రాయేల్ ప్రజలు కూడా వాళ్ళకున్న అనుభవం లాగానే మనకు కూడా అనేకమైన పరిస్థితులు, కొన్ని పర్యాయాలు మనల్ని మృంగివేయటానికి ఉన్నట్లుగా కూడా అమాంతం, అంటే మనకి ఇంకా అకస్మాత్తుగా వచ్చి అలాంటి పరిస్థితులు ఆ విధంగా ఉంటాయేమో అన్నట్లుగా కూడా మనం అర్థం చేసుకోవచ్చు. हमें चाहिए इस प्रकार को घटना ये चाहिए एकदमै न्याय हामीलाई तुरन्तै एकदमै छिटो हामीलाई खतम गर्न, नाश गर्नलाई यस्तो प्रकारको कुरा थियो भनिकन हामी बुझ्न सक्छौँ. What can we call this first problem? As situations or surroundings. It may be health, or it may be jobs, or it may be any other adverse situation that are around us. So they can come so quickly against us. But then, even though we are not aware of such kind of dangers, but then God is with us. He knows that one. He knows that what kind of danger is there. Waiting for us as trying to swallow us up. If we remember 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 8, and even the devil also, our adversary, is trying and moving around to devour or even to swallow up. కదా మరి 1 పేతురు 5వ అధ్యాయం 8వ వచనం మనం చూస్తే, ఎవరిని మృంగుదునా అని మీ యొక్క శత్రువు అపవాది తిరుగులాడుచు ఉన్నాడు. So in order to swallow us up, and he may not be able to do that one, but he may bring such kind of situations whereby we may lose our faith also. We may be very much discouraged. We may be losing all our confidence also. And such kind of situations, here the psalmist says that Lord was with us in order to protect us. यस्तो प्रकारको कुराहरूमा पनि हामीलाई जसरी पहिलो पत्रस 5 अध्यायको 8 पदको अनुसार हामीलाई एकदमै यस्तो प्रकारको खतराहरूदेखि प्रभुले गर्दा बचाउनु भयो भनिकन हामी बुझ्न सक्छौँ. Now, while the Lord is with us and protecting us, we are also learning in these days how we can be aware, all the time alert and watchful. మన దేవుడు మన పక్షంగా ఉండి మనల్ని కాపాడుతాడు అని మనం విధంగా నేర్చుకుంటున్న సందర్భంలో మనకు నేర్పింపబడిన విషయం ఏంటంటే, మనం కూడా మెలకువగా ఉండటము, జాగ్రత్తగా ఉండటం అన్నది నేర్చుకోవాలని కూడా మనకి बाइबल ग्रंथम बोधिస్తున్నది. हामी चाहिँ यस्तो प्रकारको प्रभुले गर्दा बचाउनुहुन्छ, तर साथै हामी पनि एउटा कुरा सिक्नुपर्छ, हामी जाग्दै रहनुपर्छ, हामी होसियार हुनुपर्छ, सचेत हुनुपर्छ भनिकन पनि हामी बुझ्नुपर्ने कुरा हो. बिकज वी आर अल द टाइम इन अ स्पिरिचुअल warfare. While the Lord is fighting on our behalf, we must be also watchful for all these things. How we can do that one? In prayers. So when we commit ourselves, our families, our children, church, ministry, everything into the Lord continuously, knowing the dangers that are there around us, then the Lord will do His work also when we do our part. So in this manner, we can apply all other situations also in our lives, dangers, and then how, while the Lord is helping us, we must be also carefully protecting ourselves, or carefully waiting and watching about all these problems. So it may come anytime, any side also. One situation we can immediately recollect of David's life, which is written in Psalm 56 verse 1. కీర్తనలు 56:1లో అలాంటి ఘటన మనం చూడవచ్చు. అది అనేక పర్యాలు కూడా వ్రాయబడింది. కాకపోతే ఈ విధంగా కూడా మనం అర్థం చేసుకోవచ్చు. हामी भजन को 56 को एक पदलाई कसैले भयो भने पढिदिनु होला. Kindly read please. So David had that kind of enemies. For example, Philistines. Philistines were like that. They were all the time, they were trying to besiege and they were waiting. And, it is something like David is not able to see the enemy, but he is making a trap. Trying to swallow him up, hiding behind something. That's what we can see even in these days also, and how the people of Israel was so much threatened by such kind of dangers. So Psalm 56 is talking about the Philistines, and he almost was, in the hands of the Philistines many occasions. One time, and he went into the land of Philistine. He went before the king, and we all know very well that situation is written in Psalm 34 as well as 56 also. In Psalm 34, how he changed his entire, being, and then he he became like a man. He pretended like a madman. And also at one point of the time, among the giants, there were so many giants in the land of Philistine. After Goliath was killed, there were 4 more giants actually, and one of the giants actually came against David, and he was almost killed by that giant. But then other people, those who are actually valiant men of David, they have rescued him. So on many occasions, David was in such kind of dangers among the Philistines. కదా ఫిలిస్తీన్లు అలాంటి మరి ఎంతో ఒక విధంగా చూస్తే దావీదును చంపివేయడానికి లేదా మృంగివేయడానికి పొంచి ఉన్నట్లుగా మనం అర్థం చేసుకోవచ్చు. కానీ దేవుడు దావీదు తప్పించినట్లుగా కూడా మనం చూడవచ్చు. నూతన నిబంధన గ్రంథంలో మనకు కూడా దేవుడు తప్పిస్తాడు. కాకపోతే మన పని మనము మెలకువగా ఉండటము, దాని గురించిన జాగ్రత్తలు అంటే ప్రార్థన చేయటం, మెలకువగా ఉండటం అన్నది చాలా ప్రాముఖ్యమైన విషయంగా మనం అర్థం చేసుకో. दाऊद को जीवन में फिलिस्तीहरूले गर्दा यस्तो प्रकारको एकदमै खतरा भएर दाऊदलाई खतम गर्नलाई पनि धेरैपल्ट उनीहरूले गर्दा कोसिस गर्नुभयो भनेर पनि हामी बुझ्न सक्छौँ. At the time, you see in Psalm 56, David was crying unto God. Whenever we are in danger, immediately we have to look unto the Lord. Lord, please help me. Have mercy upon me. I have made a mistake. I have come to a place where I should not be going. I am in a situation what I should not be doing. And now only you can help me. మనం ఎప్పుడైనా మరి అపాయంలో పడినప్పుడు, ప్రభా నేను వెళ్ళని చోటుకి వెళ్ళాను, లేదా చేయని పని చేస్తున్నాను, నీవే నన్ను కాపాడమని దేవునికి మనం మొరపెట్టుకుంటే మరి అన్ని సహాయముల కంటే దేవుని యొక్క సహాయమే మనకి ఎక్కువగా ఉన్నట్లుగా కూడా మనం చూడవచ్చు. प्रभुले गर्दा यही प्रकारले जसरी भजन 56 को 1 पदमा लेखिएको छ, हामी पनि प्रार्थना गर्छौँ, पुकार्छौँ भने प्रभुले गर्दा हामीलाई सहायता गर्नुहुन्छ भनेकन. So kindly try to associate all of us with the problems that are around us and how the Lord is with us, and we can be very watchful and then escape such kind of things from all such kind of things through prayers, and those things probably we can keep. Now second problem, as we see in verses 4 and 5. రెండవ సమస్యను మనం చూద్దామా. दूसरो एउटा समस्यालाई पनि यो भजनमा हामी हेर्नेछौँ. And first is in the form of men who are trying to swallow. And second one, kindly see verses 4 and 5. Shall we read all together? Then the waters had overwhelmed us, the stream had gone over our soul. Then the proud waters had gone over our soul. What is the next one here we see? Not the men, but waters. David also is talking about in a very interesting manner what kind of troubles he faced in his life. కదా ఇక్కడ నీళ్ళ గురించి, జల ప్రవాహముల గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నట్లుగా మనం చూడవచ్చు. పానికో బారిమా యథా చహి कुरा गर्नुहुन्छ. Now we see these waters every time they talk about these intense sufferings that people of God they go through, and it may be differing in intensity from person to person. ఒక్కొక్కరు ఒక్కొక్క విధంగా మరి ఎంతగానో శ్రమల గుండా, కష్టాల గుండా వెళ్ళటం అన్నది దేవుని యొక్క ప్రజలు మరి ఈ లోకంలో మరి అది సత్యమైన విషయం. ఆ విధంగా శ్రమల గుండా ఉండడం, శ్రమలు అనుభవించడం అన్నది మనం అర్థం చేసుకోవచ్చు. నీళ్లు అన్నవి శ్రమలకి గుర్తుగా ఉన్నట్లుగా కూడా మనం చూడవచ్చు. అదే అగ్ని అన్నది పరీక్షలకు గుర్తుగా ఉంటే, నీళ్ళు అన్నవి శ్రమలకు గుర్తుగా, ఆటంకాలకు కూడా అవి గుర్తుగా ఉన్నట్లు మనం చూడవచ్చు. ఈ బాధాహరులే కదా పాని చహి బాధ या दुःख दिने कुराहरूको बारेमा हामीलाई बताउनुहुन्छ. फर एक्जाम्पल we can quickly recollect even Jordan, river Jordan, as the people of God were trying to enter into the promised land. Especially on that day, Jordan was overflowing. చూడండి, దేవుని యొక్క ప్రజలు వాళ్ళు మరి ఆ యొక్క వాగ్దాన దేశంలో ప్రవేశిస్తున్నప్పుడు ఆ యొక్క నీళ్లు, యోర్దాను యొక్క ప్రవాహము ఎక్కువైనట్లుగా కూడా మనం చూడవచ్చు. हामी चाहिँ योर्दान नदीको बारेमा बाइबलमा हामी पाउँछौँ. जब प्रभुको लोकहरूले गर्दा योर्दान नदीको किनारामा आयो यो प्रतिज्ञाको देशमा जानलाई, त्यति बेला कसरी पानी चाहिँ धेरै एकदमै छिटो छिटो आउने कुरा चाहिँ हामी पाउँछौँ. काइन्डली टर्न टु बुक अफ जोशुआ प्लिज. बुक अफ जोशुआ. Chapter 3. Fifteen, 16, shall we read all together? 15, 16 వచనాలు మనం అందరం కలిసి చదువుదామా. And as they that bear the ark were come unto Jordan, and the feet of the priests that bear the ark were dipped in the brim of the water, for Jordan overfloweth all his banks all the time of harvest. The waters which came down from above stood and rose up upon an heap very far from the city Adam that is beside Jerethan. Here we see that how on that day it was overflowing. The waters were actually it is written in the Bible that during the time of harvest it is very common. But that was the time they had to cross. వాళ్ళు మరి ఆ యొక్క నదిని దాటడానికి వచ్చినప్పుడే ఆ కాలం ఎలాంటిదంటే మరి ఆ యొక్క గట్లన్నిటిని తెంచుకొని ఆ యొక్క యోర్దాను యొక్క నీళ్లు హారే సమయం ఉన్నట్లుగా ఉంది. సో దేర్ఫోర్ యాక్చువల్లీ యాజ్ వీ హ్యావ్ టు వాచ్ అండ్ ప్రే whenever we are having the situations like the men around us trying to swallow, prayer is important. And when the waters of like situation or sufferings come, we need to exercise our faith. We should not be afraid of such kind of things. We should continually exercise, be strong in doing that one. Now we all know very well, when waters of Jordan were overflowing, the priests had to come and then keep their feet in the waters కదా. మరి ఆ యొక్క యాజకులు ఆ యొక్క విశ్వాసం చేత ఆ యొక్క నీళ్ళలోకి దిగి మరి ఆ యొక్క ప్రవహించే నీళ్ళలో కాలు పెట్టవలసి వచ్చింది. దెన్ ఓన్లీ వాటర్ స్టాప్ కదా, అప్పుడే నీళ్ళు ఆగిపోయాయి. पुजारी हरूले गर्दा यस्तो प्रकारको पानीमा पनि विश्वास सहित आएर एकदमै उनीहरूको खुट्टा चाहिँ पानीमा राख्नु भएको कुरा चाहिँ हामी हेर्न पाउँछौँ. Therefore, in all our difficulties or sufferings, intense challenges, then when we face, we need to exercise our faith and then continually, without being tired, of what we are doing, we should be following. And Jeremiah was encouraged in this manner. When he was actually asking so many questions, the Lord had challenged him. Now, suppose if you cannot run with this kind of people, and how can you do when the waters overflow? That kind of thing. On many occasions, actually, this encouraged me, and I was encouraged not to be discouraged, in any situation. Kindly turn to book of Jeremiah 12:5. 12:5. इर्मिया ग्रंथम 12వ अध्याయం 5వ वचనం. इर्मिया की किताब 12 अध्याय को 5 अध्याय 10 हामी पढ्नेछौँ. धेरैपल्ट प्रभुले गर्दा मलाई यो वचनको द्वारा प्रोत्साह गर्नुभयो. Shall we read all together? If thou hast run with footmen and they have wearied thee, then how canst thou contend with horses? And if in the land of peace wherein thou trustest, they wearied thee, then how wilt thou do in the swelling of Jordan? You see, మీరు పాదాచారులతో మరి పరిగెత్తలేకపోయినప్పుడు వాళ్ళే మిమ్మల్ని అలాగొడితే మరి రౌతులతో మీరేం చేస్తారు? లేదా బహుగా ప్రవహించి యోర్దాను మీకు ఎదురుగా వచ్చినప్పుడు మీరు ఏ విధంగా దాన్ని తట్టుకోగలరు అన్నట్లుగా ఒక సవాలు ఇర్మియాకు ఎదురుగా ఉన్నట్లుగా మాట. ఇక్కడ ఛాలెంజ్ चाहिए, एउटा सवाल चाहिए. यता इर्मियाले प्रभुले गर्दा परम प्रभुले इर्मियाको अगाडि राख्नुभयो. यदि सानो सानो कुराहरूमा हामी थाकेर जान्छौँ भने विश्वासको हाम्रो जीवनमा यदि ठुला ठुला कुरा आउँछ भने हामी कसरी सामना गर्ने? यस्तो प्रकारको प्रभुले गर्दा प्रोत्साहन दिनुभयो इर्मियालाई. So therefore, when actually we are not facing so many problems as David and the people of Israel they were facing. But then what we can encourage ourselves is that we can be strong in any situation. Try to encourage ourselves. Try to exercise our faith. And by faith putting ourselves into the midst of the challenges, difficulties. Then the Lord who is on our side will be helping us, and he will not allow us these waters to overflow us. On that day they had to keep their feet in the waters. God did not ask, okay, as soon as you come to near Jordan, I will make it as a 2 parts. God did not do that one. You have to keep your feet in the water. So that is sometimes we have to, by faith, God will be helping us. So in that manner we can exercise our faith. In the first situation, prayer. In the second situation is faith. We can continually, when the proud waters. Kindly come back to 124 Psalm and verse 5. Then the proud waters had gone over our soul. And many Psalms are also in that manner are written. And water flowing over us means we are drowned in that kind of situations. Okay? Now third problem. Now third situation, our third challenge, we can read in verse 6. Shall we read verse 6 all together, please? Come, let us read. Blessed be the Lord who hath not given us as a prey to their teeth. So what is the picture here we have? Kada? Telugulo chavutara? ఇది ఎక్కడ దేన్ని సూచిస్తుంది? లేకుంటే దేని యొక్క పటాన్ని మనకి ఇక్కడ తెలుపుతుంది? ఐగుప్తు. కాకపోతే ఒక జంతువు కదా, ఏదో మనల్ని భక్షించడానికి వస్తున్న సమ్ బీస్ట్ ఈస్ దేర్. సో దిస్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ beast is something like enemy, devil. He will be coming against us. It may be in a different ways, and by giving us lot of agony in our minds, in our hearts. It is very common for the people of God. They will be oppressed. Where they are oppressed? They are oppressed in their minds. మనసులో ఎంతగానో కలత చెందేటట్లుగా మరి సైతానుడు చేయగలడు అన్నట్లుగా కూడా మనం అర్థం చేసుకోవచ్చు. అండ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ సంథింగ్ లైక్ బీస్ట్ కమింగ్ అండ్ దెన్ ట్రయింగ్ టు eat us and such kind of thing. And again we can relate the same thing to 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 8. మొదటి పేతురు 5:8లో కూడా మరి ఆ యొక్క సైతానుడు అక్కడ కూడా మనం చూస్తే ఒక విషయాన్ని మన జీవితాల్లో తీసుకుని వచ్చి కలత చెందించేవాడుగా ఉన్నాడు అన్నట్లుగా కూడా మనం చూడవచ్చు. పైలో పత్ర 5 अध्याय का 8 पद में. When we come to verse 7, it is written, cast all your care upon him, for he careth for you. So the cares of this world, they are like bees. Sometimes even physically also enemy can oppress us, not only mentally, but he can do that one by bringing many kinds of sicknesses and challenges in our physical bodies also. And they all can be seen as our cares. I mean, all our attention is gone there only. So now we know very well, when we are anxious, our attention will be there in those thoughts only, all our attention. So we will be actually losing all our rest also. And it is our experience. Many of us probably might have gone through. But then what we need to do, be sober. Be sober. That is what one thing we can do. Or in other words, continually casting our care upon the Lord. And in order to cast our care upon the Lord, we have to remember one thing. We cannot help ourselves. Only God can help us. So then only we can cast our care upon the Lord. Exercising that kind of, spiritual exercise where we cast our care is not an easy matter. Casting our burden upon the Lord also is not easy matter. మన యొక్క భారాలు, మన యొక్క చింత యావత్తు దేని మీద వేయడం అన్నది అది సులభమైన విషయం కాదు. ఎందుకంటే దాన్ని పట్టుకునే ఉండడం అన్నది మనం చేస్తూ ఉంటాం. కానీ దేవుడు అంటే ఆయన మీద సంపూర్ణంగా ఆధారపడి, ప్రభువా దీని మీద నాకు శక్తి లేదు, దీన్ని నేను చేయలేను, నా యొక్క శక్తి సామర్థ్యముల ద్వారా నేను చేయలేను, నీ యొక్క సహాయం నాకు కావాలని దేవుని మీద సంపూర్ణంగా ఆధారపడమే మన యొక్క భారమంతా కూడా ఆయన పైన వేయటం కదా. సో పీపుల్ ఆఫ్ గాడ్, in prayer we can do that one. We can express all our trust in the Lord, or all our dependency on the Lord, and tell Lord, this care you must take care, otherwise I will not be able to do it. That so many examples also we can find in the Bible. For example, in book of Psalms 55:22, kindly anybody read Psalm 55:22. Very well known, familiar portion to all of us. Cast your burden upon him, he will sustain you. So that is one thing that we can continually see. When enemy with the teeth comes and trying to crush us with all these kind of cares of this world, and also whenever we are going through this kind of situations of mental health challenges, physical health challenges, then we need to depend upon the Lord for every situation. Okay. Now in Telugu it is written in entirely different way. There is an emphasis given there. Kindly read, anybody please. ఆయనే కదా, నే అన్నది an emphasis. Nobody else. You cannot help yourself. Sometimes we cannot. It is beyond our capacity. And at that time, David also has done so many times. And we need to totally trust the Lord. And when Saul was after him, and many situations were also against him, and as this psalm is talking about the experiences of David, he found, situations like a beast trying to crush him. And, he knows how a beast can crush the sheep also. He knows that very well. And it is such kind of situation. It is the Lord who will take from between the teeth his people కదా. ఆ యొక్క కూరల నుండి, ఆ యొక్క పండ్ల మధ్యలో నుండి దేవుడు తన ప్రజల్ని కూడా మరి తప్పించగలనట్లుగా కూడా మనం అర్థం చేసుకోవచ్చు. కాబట్టి మూడవ సమస్య, దానిలో ఏం చేయాలంటే మన భారం అంతా దేవుని మీద మోపడము మనం నేర్చుకోవాలి. మన శక్తితో మనం చేస్తామని, లేదా దీన్ని ప్రయత్నము ఆ ప్రయత్నము, లేదా మరి ఇలాంటి ఊహలు అలాంటి ఊహలు, అలాంటి తప్పిదనం, వీళ్ళ దగ్గరికి పోవటము, ఇవన్నీ చేస్తే మనకు సహాయం రాదు. కానీ ఎక్కువ సమస్యలు తెచ్చిపెట్టుకుంటాం, కానీ మనకి సమస్యలకు పరిష్కారము దొరకదు. हमें चाहिए प्रभु माति मात्रै, जसरी तेलुगुमा लेखिएको छ 55:22 पदमा, नेपालीमा पढ्दिन होला. सम्हाल्ने हाम्रो प्रभु छ यो कारणले गर्दा यो पनि प्रार्थनामा हामी गर्न सक्छौँ। यो चाहिँ 4 प्रकारको जब यो एकदमै एउटा चाहिँ यस्तो प्रकारको भयानक यो जन्तु चाहिँ हामीलाई खाउनलाई आउँछ भने यस्तो प्रकारको समस्या मानसिक या दिमागको समस्या या शरीरमा समस्याहरू आउँछ भने प्रभुमाथि भरोसा चाहिँ हामी राख्नुपर्छ भनेको। द्याट डज नट मिन द्याट वी सुड नट टेक ट्याब्लेट्स, मेडिसिन, अल दोज थिङ्स, यु नो, दे आर अल द मिन्स. God heals us. Healing comes from God, but He may choose different ways of healing us. Sometimes, you know, He healed by touch, but Sometimes He said, go and wash yourself. Why? The Lord can use many things in order to heal us. So He can heal us without taking anything, but He can also heal us through the means of the doctors and medicine. And God Himself said that doctors are for the sick people only. So therefore, and we need to exercise such kind of things. I mean, we cannot go to the extremes. Now, fourth problem was 7. Shall we read was 7 altogether? I think here we stop because we do not have much time. ఏడో వచ్చిన మనం చదువుదామా. 7 పదులు हामी पढ्नेछौँ. ఇది 4 प्रकारको कुरा. Our soul is escaped as a bird out of the snare of the fowler. The snare is broken and we are escaped. And I wanted to tell many things, you know, what can be a snare to a child of God. This can be temptation. It can come, you know, through the many devices that we have, or the, you know, the world that is around us. It can continually tempt us. If we see in the Bible, one of the snares that people of Israel already all the time had was, you know, the gods of the heathen. And God told in book of Exodus, book of Deuteronomy, before they entered into the promised land, you go there, but you know, you should not worship their idols. That's what He told told them, the people of Israel again and again. They will be like a snare to you. అక్కడన ఆ యొక్క దేవతలు మీకు మరి ఒక ఉచ్చుగా ఉంటాయి అని, లేకపోతే అవి మిమ్మల్ని పట్టే ఆ యొక్క వలగా ఉంటుందని కూడా చాలా పర్యాలు నిర్గమాకాండం కానీ మరి ద్వితీయోపదేశ కాండం కూడా మనం చూడవచ్చు. యాక్చువల్లీ even Gideon had one small ephod, and later on it became an idol, and it became a snare also. So therefore, small things like that can be a snare, and what we actually have all around us. And habits become a snare to us, and therefore we need to be very careful about what are the habits that we are slowly developing. You know, they can be snare to us. And many other things can be also snare. And even devil can put snares to us కదా. మనకి అనేకమైన శోధనలు దేవుడు మరి సైతాను తీసుకుని వచ్చినట్లుగా మరి ఆ విధంగా విగ్రహారం లేకపోవచ్చు, కానీ మన చుట్టూన్న విషయాలు, మనం వాడుకునే మరి ఉపకరణాలు, మనకున్న అలవాట్లు, ప్రజలు, స్నేహితులు, ఇవన్నీ కూడా మరి అనేక పర్యాయాలు మనకు కూడా వలగా ఉంటాయన్నట్లుగా మనం అర్థం చేసుకోవచ్చు. అండ్ దెన్ we see that here very interestingly David says, the snare is broken and we are escaped. ఆ వల అన్నది విరిగిపోయింది, మనం ఏమో తప్పించబడ్డాం. అంటే అర్థం ఏంటి? వలలో చిక్కున్నారు. సో సమ్టైమ్స్ వీ ఫాల్ ఆల్సో ఇన్ టు టెంప్టేషన్స్, బట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ అట్ ద టైమ్ వాట్ వీ హ్యావ్ టు డూ ఇస్ యాజ్ డేవిడ్ హ్యాడ్ డన్. whenever he fell into the temptations, he came clean before the Lord. And you know, sometimes we may have to repent, and then we have to set right ourselves. And actually in this new year, it would have been very good to make all the list, you know, list of the problems that I am having, the bad habits that I have, you know, which I need to overcome, and then slowly consider them as areas of our progress కదా. కొత్త సంవత్సరానికి వెళ్తున్నప్పుడు చాలా పర్యాలు మనకున్న అలవాటుగా వచ్చే విషయాలన్నింటినీ కూడా మరి ఒక జాబితాగా రాసుకొని, ఇవి నన్ను ఆత్మీయంగా ఎదగకుండా చేస్తున్నాయి కనుక ప్రతిదాన్ని నేను అధిగమించడానికి ఒక తర్వాత ఒకటి టిక్ వేసుకుంటూ పోవడానికి మరి అవి చాలా బాగా మనకు పనికి వస్తాయి కదండి. ఆ విధంగా ఉన్నప్పుడు కొంచెం ఆత్మీయ జీవితంలో మనం అభివృద్ధి చెందవచ్చు. వీ కెన్ మేక్ हमें चाहिए आत्मिक जीवन में पुरोगति, हमें उन्नति पाउन सक्छौँ यदि हामी यस्तो प्रकारको लेखेर हामी राख्छौँ भने यो कुरादेखि म विजय पाउनुपर्छ, यो सालमा चाहिँ यो कुरादेखि म चाहिँ एकदम बाहिर आउनुपर्छ भनिकन हामी लेख्नु एकदमै राम्रो हुन्छ. नाउ आई हेभ रिटन फ्यू अफ देम विच आई डु नट वान्ट टु सेयर नाउ, बट आई हेभ रिटन and I am telling also to my family members. I told my wife is there and my daughter also, these are the areas that I am working on in this year. I must somehow because it has become a terrible habit for me. I want to come out of it. So we need to put some effort, and otherwise it can be a snare to us. So now final verse we will read, verse 8. Our help is, shall we read all together? Our help is in the name of the Lord, who made heaven and earth. God will help us. Now with that we will go into the time of prayer. 4 రకాల సమస్యలు మనం చూసాం. మనుషులు, నీళ్లు, జంతువులు, తర్వాత అన్నట్లుగా ఉంది కదా. ఆ యొక్క విషయాలన్నీ కూడా మనం ఏ విధంగా చూసి వచ్చామంటే, సిచ్యువేషన్స్ that enemy brings before us, or sufferings that enemy may bring before us, or even the oppression that enemy bring before us by bringing all the cares of this world before us and make us to succumb in that. And finally, temptations. So Lord may also help us whenever we come into the prayer. This may be our experience also. David, after deliverance, he is telling, God was on my side. So we may be able to tell one day in this way also, looking into all the past challenges, difficulties that we have gone through, and we can say, the Lord is on my behalf. Otherwise, I would have perished long before. That may be our experience. Shall we go into the time of prayer? Come, let us pray for the few important needs that we have before us. All of us will pray for the Holy Convocation, brothers and sisters.